The Jets lost to the Patriots for the 15th time in a row on Sunday, and it was another rough day at the office for Zach Wilson and company. New York Post sports columnist Steve Serby is at MetLife Stadium. He's still there right now to join me. He saw Gang Green's latest loss to the Patriots. Now he's here to talk with me. Steve, how are you doing? I assume you're doing much better than the Jets.
Well, it was a rough day at the office for me watching this crap.
I'm sure it was a rough day for you watching the Jets' offensive display. It was not very good at all, Steve. We got to talk about Zach Wilson because his performance on Sunday, I think Jets fans will say I'm being kind when I say this, it was dreadful. He didn't throw any picks. He completed 18 of 36 passes for 157 yards. So I got to ask this, where's the confidence level of this team knowing that it's a struggle for the offense to put points on the board? Where's their confidence level right now?
Well, it's they're putting on a brave, happy face, but there's no way they can be confident in Zach Wilson at this point. He's completed 52.4% of his passes in 2 weeks, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, the 3 picks in the fourth quarter in Dallas. And if he's not holding the ball too long, if he doesn't have a running attack to support him, which he did not today, he got caught for a safety for holding the ball too long. He's not seeing the field the way a NFL quarterback should be seeing the field, and he's not letting his playmakers make plays. And also, Nathaniel Hackett is struggling to figure out what to do with Zach Wilson as his quarterback. He doesn't have Aaron Rodgers. You know, he was in sync the way he was with Aaron Rodgers. He's not in sync with Zach Wilson. And what he should do is what he did in the fourth quarter when he played up-tempo and put the pedal to the metal and let Zach just play freely and not worry about the play call coming in and this and that. And that led to the Jets' touchdown drive, 13-play, 87-yard touchdown drive that closed the deficit. But, you know, they got problems. I mean, Joe Douglas cannot go into the starting quarterback store and find himself and buy himself a quarterback. What he can do maybe is find a backup better suited to play than Tim Boyle. But they rolled the dice. They rolled the dice on Zach Wilson. They rolled the dice expecting Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy, and they put all the eggs in that basket, and now all the eggs look scrambled.
Yeah, the eggs sure look scrambled. There's no sync with the offense right now. And you talked about Joe Douglas possibly going out and getting a quarterback. And I brought this up to Connor Hughes of SNY about what they could do. And we'll go with this because Robert Saleh, he said that Wilson will remain the starter. He said that after the game. Fox Sports' Jay Glazer, Steve, he reported that free agent quarterbacks Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, they reached out to the Jets. Gang Green is sticking with Wilson, but do you think the team should look at Wentz or Ryan as options, at least as guys who can back up Wilson and maybe push him if necessary?
Yeah, I would like Matt Ryan as a backup. He's a voice of reason. He's a good guy. People respect him. Now, the Colts let go of him because he's on his last legs, but he's a guy that can function as a backup quarterback, and the Jets should not be afraid of a backup that the fans clamor for, which they will. Now, they haven't clamored for Tim Boyle for obvious reasons, but if they bring in a Matt Ryan and Zach Wilson continues to fall on his face the way he has, then, of course, the Boo Birds who are out in force today, they'll be calling for the backup, which is what always happens. But the Jets should not be paralyzed by fear that way, because Matt Ryan can also be a valuable resource, not only for Zach Wilson, but also for Nathaniel Hackett. Even though he doesn't know this offense, he's a quick study. The guy is a brain, good guy, quality guy. He'd be an ideal backup, I think, at this point, who can at least function and give the Jets a sliver of hope.
Yeah, well,
if something were to happen to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, well, the fans are looking for any sliver of hope. And
look, Dex,
yes,
it's reached the point now where if the Jets defense doesn't score points, they can't win.
Yeah, not
How
sure
are they going to win?
Yeah, well, it's not going to be the offense the way it looks right now. That's for sure. It's not going to be that. And speaking of the fans that you mentioned, they're not happy. You talked about the Boo Birds being out in full force today at MetLife Stadium. I feel like once that's happening, the focus and the pressure on Wilson seems as if it's going to intensify each week. So how long can or should the Jets stick with him under center if he continues to struggle?
That's a good question, but what are the alternatives? That's the problem. What are the alternatives? Can they make it? I would love to see someone like Jacoby Brissett if the Commanders were willing to trade him, which after the way Sam Howell performed today, doesn't look like they'd be wise to try to trade Jacoby Brissett. And plus, they would try to fleece the Jets because they know how desperate the Jets would be. So, again, they made the bed. Now they're sleeping in it. And we saw an ominous sign on the sidelines today when Garrett Wilson was getting a little animated near Nathaniel Hackett, and Michael Carter was raging at running backs coach, Mr. Embry. So this is only week 3. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, you're right. We saw that. The vibes do not appear to be good, at least on the offensive side of the ball, for things with the New York Jets. That is the great Steve Serby, New York Post sports columnist. He's got an article about Zach Wilson's performance today. Check that out. Steve, thank you for the time, and get home safe. Thumbs down. Thumbs down for me or thumbs down for the Jets?
Oh,
offense?
never for you. No,
okay.
Both thumbs up for Dexter Henry.
Okay. I was making
thumbs
sure.
down for Zach Wilson and that performance.
Yeah, well, I think you're speaking for a lot of Jets fans with that thumbs down, and those Jets fans giving the thumbs down. They're being kind there. Steve, thank you.
Yeah, I refer to that as deja vu for Zach Wilson.
Thanks, Steve. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Dex.